Hello, welcome to SwitchedOn, Paul speaking, and welcome to what I'm going to call a beginner's guide, a real beginner's guide to Monster Hunter Rise on the Nintendo Switch. I've not covered this title much, to be honest, because I've been playing it so much. I've put in about 15 hours now, so quite deep into the game and its systems, and also just these bigger games don't tend to do so well on the channel. They're well covered by all the other excellent Switch channels out there, so as I say, I've just been enjoying this one for myself. Really, really great game. I've dabbled with Monster Hunters in the past. Never really got right into them, but this one has grabbed me. And I thought I still see people asking some quite rudimentary questions about how to do some basic things in the game. So I thought what I'd do is put a real beginner's guide together. And just really basically covering the things you need to know about in the first hour. And little settings to set up and things like that will help you. So let's get straight into it. The first thing that I want to mention is camera settings. We'll come to this. We're going to go and do a little expedition hunt later on in the video. But just for now, go into settings by pressing the plus button. And you've got these different tabs. Obviously, the last tab is the system settings tab. And you've got different things here. You can save the game from here if you wasn't aware. And under options, go to camera. And towards the bottom of this menu, you've got the camera style. Now, again, I've not seen a lot of people mention this, and some people I have seen have been trying to target the monster that they're hunting and getting frustrated that they can't. But it's because when the game starts, the camera style is set on a target camera, which you operate manually with the L button, but it doesn't lock on to the monster. So the one you want here is the focus camera. And again, I'll show you how this works once we get into the hunt, but just remember to change this. So under options, go to cameras, and then camera style, you want to have focus camera. And again, you'll see why in a few minutes when I get to that. So I've made some notes of some other things here that you want to get to. So the first thing, when you start the game, you'll get introduced around the village. You'll be introduced to, I think her name's Miona. For the village quests, you want to go to training quests and complete all of these training missions. They will give you the basics of the game. So you've got the back to basics here. Tells you pretty much a lot about the essence of Monster Hunter if you haven't played it before, or if you just want a refresher. And then a couple of the other features here. You've got learning to ride, which is kind of new in Monster Hunter Rise. Certainly the way you do it is new, where you use your wire bug to trap the monster, and then you can jump on its back. That's one of the ways you can do it. But everything you want to learn about riding monsters is under there, and then capturing monsters as well. You've got a tutorial there about capturing monsters instead of killing them. So using traps and tranquilizers. Really worth doing that. I would say of all of the... Well, actually, they're all worth doing. But, I mean, learning to ride is good because you can do some big damage. And it's great fun riding the monsters around and getting them to fight each other. One good way of getting rid of monsters quickly. And capturing monsters is good as well because you get different rewards, and the hunts don't go on so long. Sort of about 3/4 of the way through a hunt, you get the ability to capture a monster, so you can end the hunt a little bit earlier. So do those training quests as a pretty much before you do anything else, just to get used to the game. And you can do them multiple times, and you can do them at any point as well. So if you do want to dive headfirst into the village quests, you can always go back and do those training missions at any point if you get a little bit stuck. So as you can see here, I've completed all the level 1 and level 2 quests, and I'm working on my level 3 quests at the moment. I'm sure you're aware, it's pretty obvious, but if you want to see more about a quest, use the L and R buttons. So that's the basic overview of a quest there. So the first quest there on the level 3 is Can't Stomach the Thought, hunt a Tetradon. But if you press L and R, you get more information. So the locale info is really useful because it tells you if there's any extra monsters or any extra effects on the world. Conditions, failure conditions, the client who you're working for, and then a summary of the mission. But as I say, L and R lets you flick between those two if it's not immediately obvious. Just a couple more things in the village before we take on the expedition quest. You want to come to the item box here. And it may seem a little bit long-winded at start, but I would recommend making a loadout for your items. So you go to Manage Items, Transfer Items. You'll end up with something like this eventually once you start collecting loads of stuff. Use ZL and ZR to switch between your item pouch, which is what you're currently carrying, and ZR there to go to your item box. This is all stuff that you've got stored, and there's multiple tabs of that as well. What you want to do, and you'll get used to this as you go out on hunts and decide what you actually like to use. Some people You know, if you've got guns or bows, you might want to be taking out ammo and coatings. If you've got a certain style, as I say, you'll get used to all this, but at its most basic, you want to get together a pouch of things that are useful to you. So I've got in here potions, a mega potion which restores a lot of health, antidote if you get poisoned, deodorant that can cure some negative effects on you, rations which restores your stamina. I've got some bombs. I've got a dung bomb and a barrel bomb. A dung bomb, if you're getting stuck with a monster and you're under pressure, you can throw a dung bomb and the smell will drive them away. These empty vials here are for, I think they're for crafting, so if you've got them on you, then you can craft items with them. So they're always worth having. We've got the energy drink, which will give you a lot of stamina, and if you get put into a sleep by a monster, it will cure that as well. Pitfall trap, which is like a hidden hole, so the monsters will fall into it. Then I've got a flash bomb, which are really useful. You can find these around the world as well, like little flash flies that if you activate them, it will temporarily blind the monster, but you can craft a bomb as well that you can throw at a monster and it will blind it, and then you can sneak up behind it. And then a trank bomb. You need these if you're going to be trapping monsters. You need these in tandem with the pitfall traps or the shock traps, because you throw a couple of these at the monster when it's in the trap, it will knock it out and allow it to take it home, and that will end the hunt. So that's my current loadout. As I say, if you flick between over here, you can add extra things to it. Press on anything. Let's put this great Izuchi pelt, and you see it gets added to the left hand side to the pouch. Now when you've got your loadout how you want, if you press item loadouts, so you see there on the left hand side you've got the pouch that you just set up, so I've got the pelt in there as well. You can come down here and press X to register the loadout, and what it will do is it will save that loadout. So when you're getting ready to go to a hunt, you come up to the item box, go to manage items, go to loadouts, and you can choose which loadout you want. So if I choose loadout 1 now, it will get rid of that pelt. And what it will do is it will stock everything that's on the right hand side there. So 10 potions, 10 mega potions, all my traps and bombs, and just put them over to the left hand side into my pouch, ready for the hunt with the right amount, so long as I've got them in stock. And also when I come back from a hunt, if I've got anything in my pouch that I've collected out in the field, it will transfer them straight into my item box and just leave me with the items that I want. So really useful to get used to using item loadouts. As you see, you can have 40 different loadouts, and as you go on in bigger hunts and hunt specific monsters, you'll probably want different things. But just at the start, get used to a very basic loadout like I've got there, and it saves you a lot of time from sorting out your loadouts. Now again, before a hunt, you may already know this if you've played Monster Hunter games before, but you want to eat something. So what we're going to do first is we're going to grab a quest. We're just going to do an expedition quest, an expedition tour. We're going to tour the ruins, which is the most basic one. You can choose a daytime or nighttime tour. Now all the tour is basically you go out into the field and there's no timer and there's nothing particularly, there's no sort of mission to do, there's no monster to hunt. You can literally just wander around. You can still collect materials and bring them back, so it's really good if you're like looking for specific stuff to upgrade armor. You can get out there and grab the materials that you want. But for now, we're just going to have a little look at this hunt. As I say, before you go out, you really must eat a meal here at one of the 2 restaurants. There's one here and then one inside the gathering hub. You can pay with money, pay with points. I usually pay with money because you use the points for like other services in the village, so best to save that unless you've got no money, which is probably going to be rare. But pay with money. 200, I think zilini is the currency in Monster Hunter. So you want to order these bunny dangos. I've unlocked a few more from missions that I've done, but basically they're just buffs that you can add. So you have to add 3 to your meal, and you can see at the bottom there what they are. So this one is the Wealthy Man Dango. Tells you a little bit about what the ingredients are, but it's not particularly interesting. It's the bit in the middle that you're interested in. Increases the amount of zenny you receive at the end of a quest. So that could be quite useful if you're trying to get your money up. So we'll select that. So the second one we want. So this again, looking at the info at the bottom middle, the Dango Hurler. It says increase damage dealt by the kunai, which is like little knives that you throw. Could be quite useful, depending again on the hunt that you're going on. Dango Deflector helps your weapon retain sharpness when attacks are deflected. That's pretty good. Dango Feet prevents you from getting knocked on your butt. Again, that's a good one, especially if you're struggling with a strong monster. So have a look through these, and basically you want to put 3 together, and they will be sort of little buffs that you might get. You can also save these as well. If I go back, I've got 1 mil saved at the moment. What's the second Dango Defender? Well, I've got 2 Dango. Oh, Dango Deflector, Dango Defender, and the Dango Feet. So I can just reorder that very quickly without having to pick it. Press B to skip those cutscenes. And you can see on the right hand side there, my health and stamina went up by 30. And I got a couple of buffs. They're not guaranteed. If you use a Dango ticket, which you can get in the field, I think all 3 effects are applied, sort of guaranteed. But they're kind of a random chance of whether you get the effects or not, and they will last for the entire next hunt. But the most important thing about eating is to get your stamina and your health up, and I'll show you that in a second. Just 1 or 2 more things before we depart on the hunt. If we press the minus button, hold down the minus button, we get the map up of the village, and you can quick jump to any of these areas as well. You can see I've opened up everything in the village. But when you open up the Buddy Plaza, you want to visit this quite regularly. And if I just say as well, on these sort of quick places you can jump to here, if they've got a little exclamation mark, little speech bubble, next to the area here on the left hand side, means there's somebody there that wants to talk to you, to either give you a mission or to give you some items. So check that when you come back, see if there's anybody around that wants to chat. So it's holding down the minus button. You can also get to it by holding down L to bring up your radial menu, and it's like the 5 o'clock area down there, so the bottom right hand corner. Move around village will also bring up that map. But the thing you want to do in here, you don't really want to do any of the Plaza stuff. You may have seen this on other Monster Hunter videos, but if you haven't, let me just, before I do that, just to show you the entrance here. Let's get back to the entrance just so I can orient you where to go. So this is where you come in. You see that tree right in front of you, almost like at 1 o'clock in front of me there. If I run straight towards it, this big huge tree, if you run around the back of it, there is a little climbing section, and if you climb up the tree, up the top here, there's a Kahoot nest, and if you check that, you might find some special items. So you've got a couple of rations, a wet fish, a lang apple, which you use for training, and a trap tool. So these things stack up as well, so that if you don't, they're not going to disappear. If you leave it sort of 2 or 3 hunts, 2, 3, 4, 5 hunts, whatever, come back, there'll be a nice collection of items there for you. So that's a really cool thing. We're going to move back to the main village. So I think we're going to go out on this expedition hunt, because there's some stuff I want to show you out in the field. Let's just depart on that. So here we are at the start of the quest. Again, if you're new to Monster Hunter, a couple of things here. Firstly, you've got a supply box here, which the Monster Hunter Guild will leave for you. And there's some items in here that you can take. As the hunts get more difficult, you get more items in there. But there's a couple of free potions in there, worth taking. Over this side, you've got your tent. If you go into here, you can change your equipment from here, so you can get a different weapon. Go to manage equipment, change equipment, and you've got all your weapons there, so you can swap out a weapon. This was actually useful for me in a hunt I did this morning. I had to hunt for some bugs, and when I went out in the field to find them, they were like little flying bugs, and they were really difficult to hit. I normally used a hunting horn there, which is a slow weapon, and these bugs were really quick. So I just made my way back here. I think I fast travelled back to the camp, changed to the dual blades, which are a lot quicker and easier to use, and that was much more satisfactory in the hunt. So that's the sort of thing that you can use this for. You can also eat a meal here as well if you've forgotten to eat back at the village. So we're just going to head out into the field. One thing you may notice that's different to your Monster Hunter probably at the moment, because it isn't the default, is my map in the bottom left hand corner. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the map. I've gone for a detailed map here. So you want to come into your options here again and go to the last menu, which we did when we changed the camera for the attacking the monster, and come to options, and under game settings if you come down to HUD map type here, you can change whether you have the detailed map or the general map. Now the general map is zoomed out, you can see all the areas, and that's fine, but it's probably better, especially if you're hunting for materials, to use the detailed map, because you can see much closer up. Now if you press the L button to get your radial menu up, you can see it zooms out to the overview map, which your game will default to. And again, you know, that's fine, you can see all the areas there, and you can see a good overview of where the monster comes up. But as a default, I like this zoomed in map. But it's the opposite, you know, if your game's probably starts with the map like that, zoomed out, and then when you press the L button, you get this close-up zoomed in map. So it's whatever you prefer. I just prefer the zoomed in map there. But while we're talking about maps, you want to go to hold down minus to get this detailed map up here, and you can zoom in and out with the ZL and ZR button. But two things you want to look at here. You want to change the category here, and this will show you just the icons of certain things. So this icon here, the change category, it starts off as hide, so there's nothing really shown on the map. Where are we? We're down here somewhere, aren't we? There we are. L and R. So R will show you perma buffers. So these are the little creatures that will buff you. Other endemic life is the next tab. So stuff like plants and wasps and honey and stuff like that. Oh, it's not honey, is it? That's on gathering. But other endemic life, other little creatures. Gathering will show you stuff like honey, mushrooms, and other materials. And the icon list selection is what we're going to look at next. You press X, and you can actually get up a complete list of all the items that you might want to collect in the game. And you can actually choose which ones to show. So, for example, if I'm looking for mining materials, I may go here to this tab, Materials 2, look for mining outcrops. If I press A on that, you see on the map, little white question marks have appeared. Now let me just switch that to the blue ones. Watch the map. You see now the white ones have gone, and I've just got blue mining outcrops. Two different types there. So let's leave it on the blue ones. And if we go back to this map here, you can see now on the map, on the detail map in the bottom left hand corner, I've got a good indication of where my mining stuff is. So if I dive across to here, there's a little mining outcrop. You see on the map the little blue question mark. There is a little mining outcrop around here somewhere. Oh, actually it's up the top, I think. It's up there, I believe. But anyway, that's the icons anyway. Use those icons when you're doing your gathering. If you want to search for specific things, use the map and get used to using that, because it's really helpful. So you may have already discovered, maybe by accident, or maybe you read the manual, you can hold down R while you're running downhill and you'll slide. And you can still gather stuff while you're sliding. So that's quite handy to get around quickly. And there's a creature over there. We don't want him to alert us, but it's going to be a good example to show off the camera here. So top right hand corner, you've got the monsters that are in the current location that you're in. You cycle through them with the R button. I think he might have spotted us. I just heard him growling. Yeah. So you can cycle through the monsters. The one that's lit up is one that's close to you in your locale, so it's actually in your location. Now, if with the focus camera on that we changed in the options, you can see now the camera is focused on that monster. So no matter where I run, I'm just holding the left stick. The camera will always center and focus on the monster, which is so handy when you're in a fight. And that's what you want to be on. I'm not going to spend too long having a fight here, but I'm just going to show you how the camera works. Try not to die in the process. I'm going to make a hasty escape, but yeah, that's what the focus camera does. So right will cycle through. So now I've clicked in the right stick again, toggled off of that monster. My camera is now free. I can now move around quite freely with the right stick. But if I click on the right stick to focus on that highlighted monster again, the camera will swing around and focus on that monster. So Much better in combat, allows you to really focus on the combat and not worry about the camera. So we're going to make a hasty retreat here. If we hold down A, as I'm sure you've seen in the tutorials, you can jump on your dog, the Palamute. Holding down R will make it run like it does for you. Some moves you may not know of, if you press ZR, you can jump. And there's also some quite cool gymnastics moves you can do. But while you're running, you can also hold down the... Oh my god. Don't want to fight him. You can hold down the ZL button to do like this power slide. And when you release ZL, you'll get a temporary speed boost from the Palamute. So again, that's good for either escaping or tight cornering or chasing the monster. So that's a really good thing to bear in mind. So that's when you're running, you have to be running when you do it. Hold down ZL and the dog will start sliding. You can still move around left and right, and when you let go, assuming that you don't run into anything, you'll get a little power boost. So there's some tips there. I've got a few more that just going to run through these last few. Also under the start, while we're on the start menu actually, press the plus button. You want to be coming here to the Hunter's Notes, the third tab along. Really useful information on here about monsters. As you fight more of them, you will get more information about their weaknesses, what they're weak to, which parts of their body are weak, and to what elements. So we've got here the Great Azuchi. Head is very susceptible to blades and hammers. Any ailments that they're particularly weak to as well. So poison, paralysis, sleep, exhaust will all work on the Great Azuchi. And last tab there is materials. So if you're looking for anything specific, for example, you're looking for the Great Azuchi hide for some of your weapon or armor upgrades, you can see here that you're going to get a 60% chance of it dropping off the Great Azuchi. But also, you're probably going to want to capture it. You've got a 26% chance of capturing, although 43% when you carve it. So yeah, so you're better off carving that. But the pelt, the second one down now, 39% chance when you capture it, and only a 33% chance when you carve it. So if you're looking for something specific, as I say, check out the... You can see this hunter info anytime. You can see it back in the village. So if you go to the blacksmith and you're a material short, check out your hunter notes and find out which monster has the parts that you need and how to get them more efficiently, whether it's capturing or carving, because that's really useful info. But I think that's probably about it. I was just going to show you this athletic move on the Palamute. So when you're running, you press ZR to jump, B to jump off, and then you can use your wire bug. So you can get really long distances and really sort of sneak up on monsters. So running, ZR, B, wire bug, B again to dodge, and see I've come a huge distance there from the Palamute. And you can make up huge distances in short times. And remember to use the roll as well when you are trying to jump across sort of gaps in mountains and stuff, or some big areas. You can do the roll in the air, so gives you a little extra bit of area to jump across. So wire bug with X to launch, then B to roll, X again, and then B again. And if you've got sort of 3 wire bugs as well, you'll get an extra bit of distance as well. So you can jump across huge gaps if you time it right, which is really good when exploring. And that's probably my last tip. I likened this game earlier to some of the guys that is a little bit like Breath of the Wild, but it really does feel like it because you can really explore. I'm so impressed with this game of how far you can explore and how well the game performs in terms of sort of frame rates and stuff. And there's no loading. Just technically it's a super impressive game, but explore, that's my last sort of tip, especially early on in this game. Just go up, run up the sides of mountains. The higher you go up and the more sort of obscure the location that you run up to or locate, you're going to find loads of secrets, loads of really cool materials. Some of like the tougher to get materials is going to be in some of the harder to reach places. So keep climbing up mountains and finding little caverns and caves. You've got a nice gap here to jump across. Using that technique I said about using the bee to spin in midair, we can jump across there with the wire bug, and we found a nice little mining outcrop. Got some nice stuff there. So there you go. So that's just some really early beginner tips and sort of settings and stuff that I think make the game better, that you should sort of be setting up early doors in your game before you worry too much about, you know, getting out on those hunts. I might do some more videos of these, just sort of the next hour, maybe some of the sort of more advanced things that you might want to be looking at doing. But that should get you off the ground and up and running anyway. If you've got any questions, just let me know below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you're new. Heading towards 10,000 subscribers, which is really exciting stuff. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Enjoy your hunting, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.